Hello and welcome to Tales from the Interface Live. My name is Emmanuel and I will be sharing my screen for the next hour. So let me just finish setting up my stuff here. Yeah. Alright, I'm almost ready to go. Okay, I don't need those headphones. So today, I am working on page 22, and that means that there's only a few more pages until I reach the end of this process. So what I'm doing here is I'm working on the next chapter of my comic, Tales from the Interface, that you can find on tfti.inkorporate.com, and you can read the whole story up to now. And what I'm working on is the next chapter. The current chapter has just begun, so there's like 2 pages live. And there will be another one actually next Thursday. So I'm currently working on the next chapter, and this series of video is pretty much me sharing my desk and how I work. And if you have any questions or comments, I'd love to hear them. And I'll also take this opportunity to answer questions. So if you have any questions, process-wise, what kind of software I'm using, or why I'm doing something, just feel free to chime in. So I'm just gonna go ahead and share my screen now. So this part of the process is, so I divide basically a process into 4 parts, and it's always evolving. I'm always trying to be more efficient. This part of the process is part of the storyboarding. So what I do, actually there's more than 4 parts. I start off with a script, and then I do a rough drawing that you can find. Pretty much what's on the right side of the page is my rough kind of draft. And then once I go through all the pages, I go back again to the beginning, and that's what I'm moving here. So these are like second pass at the storyboard, and at this stage the drawing is much more advanced. I tried to figure out all the different positions of all the characters, the layouts, the composition at this stage. And then when I reach I'll reach the end, I'll go back again to the beginning, and already I see that some of that were rougher than what I'm doing right now. So anyway, what I'll do is that I'll re-look at that page and basically try to see how I can improve it, stuff like that. If I need to improve it, or if I can just go ahead and do a final pencil, if you will. Once that final pencil is done, then I'll start adding some details and ink. And then when the ink is done, actually I often will add additional detail because it's easier to add them on the ink, I found. It's not like a traditional flow where the ink is ink stage is very committed, that because it's very hard to change because you need to use whiteout and stuff like that. But in the digital flow, it's easy to remove without any trace, so you can retouch the ink without any problem. And that's something that sometimes I have trouble is discerning between pencil and ink. because often my pencil is as good as the ink. So, I want to be efficient. I don't want to trace twice if I don't have to. So sometimes you kind of judge. You have to judge if your sketch is good enough for inking. Keeping in mind that inking doesn't have to be final. You can always lower the opacity and trace on top of the ink to make it better, which I very often do. So yeah, the page I'm currently working on is a little bit involved. I've been working on that last night, and it might be a bit too involved. Maybe I'm going too far in details. So that's I don't know. I'm trying to think if I am or not. I might be. So or not. I mean, I'm kind of satisfied with how it looks. I doubt I will change it. So it might be okay. So today will be kind of a live where I work on a single panel, because this is kind of a panel that takes a long time. So I guess it's a good example to show you that a lot of what we do as an artist, as a comic artist, is not like what they show on most if you look at videos online. Often they will speed up the video and kind of it kind of looks like it's easy and fast, but there's a lot of work that comes in that you just need to sit down and do it, and it takes time, and it's not necessarily it's not always difficult, but it's long, and I think a lot of people would find it boring, and sometimes I'm annoyed. I don't want to do it, but I'm always at least most of the time satisfied with the outcome. So that brings me to the subject I kind of thought of talking today, which is grit. So this week I saw with Sam, who is a extremely talented artist, much more than me, and he shared a talk between a Dr. Angela Duckworth and Dr. I don't remember her name, and Neil deGrasse Tyson, who is a doctor of physics, I believe. I might be mistaken. And they were talking about grit. So what is grit, right? It's not necessarily obvious. So grit is when you're faced with a situation that is difficult, but you kind of keep up with it. So I think that working on my comic really kind of applies to this definition. I've been working on that since 2011 or something, and it's long. I mean, it takes me quite a while, and it's what I call. So I think that it really qualifies as grit. So they were kind of wondering how do you do this? What is it, and how do you become good at something? So it was interesting because I'm kind of trying to arrange my thought as best as possible to make sense. I'm sorry if I'm not. But basically, the doctor, Angela, Dr. Duckworth, was talking. She was working with she worked with the scientist who coined it was psychologist or psychiatrist, I'm not sure, who coined the term. If you want to get good at something, you must work 10,000 hours on it. And she didn't work with that psychiatrist, but she worked with the scientist whose study were used as a basis for that kind of sentence that got pretty famous. So it was interesting to see her view of this. So, question: do you get good if you spend 10,000 hours at anything? And she brought something interesting. I mean, it is unlikely that, and she brought the example of Michael Jordan, and you know, I have no idea about sports. I'm really not good at it, but obviously, I mean, everybody knows that he's a very talented basketball player, right? And she was saying, not everybody can become as good as he is at basketball in 10,000 would become as good as he is, even if they tried for 1,000,000 hours. You know, I think it applies specifically to athletes, that there's a certain physical requirement. You know, your body needs to be capable of achieving this, and some people simply will never, you know, have the body, have the physical possibility. Their body will never have the physical possibility of doing this. So there is a point where you know, there's no, if that's your goal, then it's pointless. But what she also said was that measuring yourself like that is also pointless, and you should really measure yourself against yourself. So the real question is are you getting better than yourself? So am I better today than I was yesterday? So, and is it something that I think it is worthwhile, you know? Because if it's not, if you don't think it's worthwhile, maybe you shouldn't be doing it. If you're not gaining anything by it, you probably, you know, shouldn't be doing it. If you're not, if it's not something that you find rewarding or useful or something like that. I think I'm going to move that blue piece there because it's too hidden. So is it something that you find worthwhile to do? It's really the only kind of requirement that you would need for deciding if you should do something or not. You shouldn't. It shouldn't be based on what others think. You know, it should be based on what you think is worth doing. And that kind of brought me to a thing that often bugs me, and I think it's a lot of artists feel the same way, perhaps especially in the arts, is that it's a question of born with talent. So you know, you look at the example of a basketball player, like an athlete. I mean, sure. I mean, what I do should have cut first. Sure, you know, you will probably never, if your body is not physically capable of achieving this level of you know, of athlete, you know, it's, yeah, sure, you will never reach it. And I guess some people are just not born to be able to become great artists. But you know, from my experience, it's not, you know, being born with talent is very small part of the artist experience. And even somebody like, I'm sure, like any athletes, you know, they really work their ass off to be able to reach that level, even if they're born with the talent. So even if you're born with talent, you still need to do the work. And I would think that especially in the arts, because there's no, you know, huge physical requirement. I think being an athlete is harder on that, in that sense. But being an artist, it's not physically demanding as much as being an athlete is. So I do think that even if you were born, you know, we're born artists, the true, you know, if you really want to become good, you still need to put in the hours. And if somebody really has the passion to become an artist, he will put in the hours. And I think that in the end, somebody who started off talented will not necessarily be better than the one who put in the hours. I think it's not the same as sports. I think that in the arts, for sure, that's the case, that if you put in the hours, it's very likely you'll become as good as somebody who's born with talent. And I base this on personal experience, because throughout my life I've seen so many talented artists who do nothing about it. Like they can draw like super well, but they have no passion. So basically, you know, they get stuck on where they are and don't really ever become better. So I've seen this happen again and again, and you know, I am definitely not born with talent. I had to work at everything I do. So I guess it brings me comfort having this thought. So, you know, take it with a grain of salt, if you will. But I think that, you know, as an artist, you can certainly achieve talent with hard work. And it's not so much about being born with it and having like talent. Talent is often a synonym for, oh, you know, sure, you can do it, you have talent. And that's so untrue. It's not about talent, because I wasn't born with it. All I ever acquired was through hard work. You know, I was never born a talented artist. I had to work really hard at it. You know, great if you are born with talent, you know, but if you do nothing with it, it's pointless. And I see a lot of people who are naturally talented at a lot of stuff. And often those same people, although they are talented, they have no drive. They can start doing anything they want and be good at it, but they have no drive. They don't, although they can do anything, they don't want to do anything. They don't want to do. They have no interest. They have no passion. They don't. Perhaps there's no motivation for them to try and get better, because they are naturally better. You know, in my case, I guess I value any skill that I gain, because I know how hard it was to get there. and then because of that, I tend to apply it more. I tend to want to use because I spend so much time on it that I do want to use it. I don't know how much sense this makes, but it's just something I wanted to talk about. I think it's interesting, and often, you know, it's just a reminder of you should really do what you are passionate about because you are passionate about it. You should definitely do it. And I think you can achieve if you have enough drive. How about this guy? I'm gonna trace over him. His position is a little bit boring. I think there should be something else happening here. Okay, let me make another layer. I'll take some red. Then it looks a bit static and not very dynamic. I'm thinking, you know, you could maybe be pulled on one direction. Just not sure how to do this foot here. And working out, you know, without reference is always a challenge. But I find that I can do most of what I want without it. And it does save a lot of time not to have to find it. And at this stage, you know, I can kind of wing it. And then, you know, when I reach the, you know, the next step, if I think it looks too weird, then I can at that point take pictures or try to do something different. I want to feel an angle like that, like he's being pulled on one side, and maybe he's trying to grab that tentacle. I want to see the fight, and rather than he kind of looked like he was just giving up, which, you know, I guess would be fine, but kind of want to see like some struggle or something, you know, happening. Just looked a bit boring as it was. I don't think there was anything majorly wrong with the drawing, but I mean, just trying to make it a little bit more interesting. Like, sorry, I'm just checking the stream health if it was good or not. See, there's one. Yeah, some people are watching, so hello everyone who joined. My chat was a bit weird, so just wanted to make sure. All right. So what else to say about this? I pretty much covered what I had to say for today. I'm getting very excited about this since I'm very close to a finished stage of it, and it's one of the most annoying thing that you can't, like, you have to wait so long. Like this one, I won't be able to share the final page of this for a year, so that I have enough time to do the whole thing. It gets annoying a bit. Should I maybe put this arm like that? And then I can have more tentacles like this. I'm just gonna finish that shoe here because I won't be using the underdrawing anymore. I do keep them for a while. Rarely need them, but I don't know. I'm kind of being overly cautious. And yeah, this should be more like this. So I've been wondering about like promotion and social media, how you use it. I've been posting only drawing related things on Instagram, because a lot of people say that you should only post one thing, and I'm starting to wonder how much this is true. So this week I posted a pretty cool video of a spider that I found in my backyard. never seen any spider like that big, so I thought it was kind of interesting. And I'm wondering if I should do more of that, you know, on Instagram, like unrelated kind of things. 'Cause you know, I did get like a few comments from it, which is I don't get too many comments usually, so I thought, you know, that's interesting. Maybe I should post more, you know, not always drawing, but kind of vary a little bit. So wondering if my, you know, audience would care or would be interested. But, you know, nature is something I really love. I love to take walks and mountains and stuff like that, so I do often take pictures. I've been noticing on my personal profile that you know, my little pictures of nature, they're nothing great. I'm not a very good photographer, but a lot of people were interested in them, so more than my art. But that's fine. I guess they can relate more to it than comics. And the way social media works, you know, I know for sure Facebook is like that. The more you like somebody's post, the more you will see them. So I guess it's also based on the type of post, but so I don't know. I'm kind of thinking I should do more of this because some people like it, and it might, you know, give them more chance to see my art because they will like my post and then see more posts from me. One thing that sucks about it, about most social media, is that they really think for you, right? And then if you stop paying attention to something, it disappears completely from your feed. If you stop interacting with a certain type of content, you won't see it anymore. They do that to keep people on the platform as much as possible. But, you know, I know that a lot of people, they don't necessarily want to be, you know, to see comics all the time. They might want to, but because they don't want it all the time doesn't mean they don't want it at all. But all social media works, it kind of creates this, because it only shows you what you constantly interact with instead of what you're a little bit interested in. So it makes it really hard to discover new things. And you know, when you're making comic with new characters and new universe and new things like that, it makes it extremely hard to find new readers because of what I've just kind of explained. So yeah, so I'm not sure. I mean, it's really hard to find new readers and real readers, as you know, a lot of people in the indie industry will know. There is a huge difference between a fellow comic artist who like your work and somebody who has nothing to do with comics that likes your work. I do believe I have some fans like that who are just simply readers. And, you know, this is, you know, I really appreciate when another artist likes my work, but At the same time, I know that, you know, they have their own stuff, and when you're an artist and you're doing that all the time, you're not as into other people's comics, because you see it all the time. You don't necessarily want to read comics all the time. So that's why readers, people who are actually comic fans who just want to read them, are extremely valued, you know. And I appreciate those people a lot. I think my chat is broken. I don't know if I'm receiving messages from Twitch, so I'll just go to the site and make sure that you're not trying to talk to me. I'll just mute this. Oh, I don't need to mute that. All right. All right. Okay. Well, where was I? So yeah, this panel is progressing, you know, slowly but surely. So I got a dude hanging out here. I don't need this layer anymore. Just gonna put it to the bottom. All right. And I'm kind of wondering if I'm gonna, yeah, this is my reference, by the way. I do use a little bit of different references sometimes. I just try to find images that match and get inspired by them. I don't copy them outright. So just gonna put a white background there. I was kind of wondering if I wanted to have kind of an overlay where the tentacles go on top of this panel here. I'm not sure how much that would work. I guess it does. Try just thinking of it logically. Would he do that like before the tentacles or in the same time? But he is doing it at the same time. We're kind of seeing another point of view of the same panel. So I can certainly take this guy, but I don't want to cover the hand, so I need to play around with that a little bit. So if I put this guy on top, then perhaps I can move him differently, or here. I kind of wanted to see the two characters here behind him. So where can I put this guy? I guess here. Kind of want this overlay effect. That's pretty cool. You know, so I would have like a white mask here. I think that would work. Something like that. So and then I can put some tentacles on top of this as well. That would be cool. I think not too much, but a little bit. So big brush, a little bit too big. trying to think about the best way to. It's really fun. I don't know if you can tell that I'm having fun, but working with these kind of semi-abstract shapes is always something I've enjoyed. I remember when I was working when I was in college, like I really enjoyed making abstract kind of drawings. It wasn't these kind of shapes, but it was another kind of shapes, and just making that. I just really enjoyed it. And these tentacles, they will need to have some additional detail, like they should have spikes and stuff like that. But for now, it will do. Okay, then I'll make another one. It goes under the frame. Just change the color a little bit. Won't be on top of the drawing, this one. It will be under, so I'm just gonna move it here. But I just want to make the shape first. Oh, make sure my shape makes sense. Okay, this will be under the red one. And obviously the more tentacles I draw, the better they are. I'm starting to do some things that I haven't done in my previous generation of tentacles. And that's I guess that's another thing you can talk about. I just commented on an artist like this morning. He was saying he just got a graphic tablet, and it's just like, oh man, since I'm working digital, I start focusing way too much on the detail, and it takes me forever. I'm not progressing. And yeah, I can really understand this. It's very easy to get lost in detail and digital. I still do often. You got to, you gotta know when to stop. Be smart about it, and it's a learning thing. I guess eventually you get the hang of it. I think I'm better than I was. I spend less time than I used to. But it's definitely something to watch out for in digital, because it's fixing things becomes so easy. And then when I look at those tentacles, I think, oh man, they were much cooler than the ones I used to do. So should I go back and update the ones that I did before? And the answer I must tell me is no, you should not. Leave them alone, because you have other stuff to do. And it's annoying because the page, and it's the page I'm gonna publish this week, has tentacles on them, and then I'm saying, oh man, I'm drawing much cooler ones. Then I could go back and like edit this before it goes live and everything, and I say, I have to talk to myself. I have to tell myself, no, don't do that, man. Just just go forward. Don't focus on stuff that's already done. It's done. Leave it alone. I think I said this before. I was wondering. One of the things I'm thinking is this, when I'm finished with all the chapters of this comic, I have a plan. I mean, I only have so many planned up before I reach a conclusion, and yes, there is a conclusion. So when I'm finished, my dream would be to produce a higher quality complete edition of the complete thing. I hope people will be on board for that. So the question is, would I edit any of it? And it is bugging me a little bit. And the answer is, I'm thinking about it. And if I were to update it, I should certainly not do it now. Because if I was to do it now, I will certainly want to update it again at the end of this. So I think it makes sense that I would update it for kind of a final edition. So I am thinking of maybe just looking once over and probably fixing some of it, like maybe redoing a few pages that I really think would benefit from it. So that's what I'm thinking, and this is really a thought in process. I don't know exactly what I'm gonna do yet, but this is where my thoughts are at the moment. I still have many years of work ahead of me, but this is the kind of thing that keeps me up at night. Yeah, weird, but I think about this a lot. And that's something, that you need to train yourself, I think, as an artist, that people will never be as involved as you are in your project. So it's hard. It's really hard because you're so much into it that it naturally becomes very important, and you tend to forget that. At least I do. Maybe because I'm too selfish, but you kind of forget that other people, have their own view and project and things that they do. Because I think when to take on something that big, you need to be really really focused on it. And I don't know. You won't find anybody else who's as focused on your project that you as you will be. I guess that's why it's so hard to find a partner. If I were, to do this with somebody else, it would be extremely hard. Just the amount of trust required, and with the best of intention, it's very hard to find time. And that, if you when you're depending on somebody, to finish their part of the work, and before you can start your own, you need them to finish it. That's the worst, because especially in some indie project like that. I mean, people they need to make their own money. And I'm not making anything with this, and I couldn't pay anyone. So anybody who would be helping me would be doing it, of their own interest. And they might say, oh yeah, I want. But then, after a little while, let's say, I'm doing all this work for nothing. And that's completely natural. I started a few projects with other people, but never could really make anything that I could never make anything last. People have their own thing, have their own life. They need to find their own project. I'm amazed when I find like a creative partner that stay together like for long periods, like for instance Matt Stone and Trey Parker. They've been doing their own independent movies and stuff like that even before South Park, and I guess they found success, so that kind of worked out for them. So good for them. But maybe that's why they're still together. But I guess even before they found any kind of success, it was let me change color here. Before they found any kind of success, I'm sure they must have had a lot of setbacks, and they had to work a lot to get there, for sure. I still remember the first little videos that came out on the internet about the first little South Park videos I found. I think internet helped them a lot in the beginning. I used to say, so I know. I guess I'm saying that you should really try to make your own thing. Don't depend on anyone, unless you have a budget to pay them, and even then you need to find trustworthy people. Okay. So one thing missing is more people, because there was a lot of people in that room, and these tentacles that were kind of attacking them. So now I have 3, but I should put more. Question is where? Maybe I should have put Waldo in there. I found Waldo! Just identify this layer here. People. Okay, I'm thinking somebody here maybe. I can rework that tentacle a little bit. I was wondering if I was doing too many details, but you know, looking at this, I kind of need to, because I need to determine where the people are, you know, that kind of stuff, and I need to make that sketch layer. If I'm not doing it now, I'll be doing it later. The only problem is if I figure out later that I need to move it, then, or the angle is wrong or something like that. Grabbing like that, and then tentacle will be coming out here. Okay, back to people. Feet. I'm trying to keep mindful of the perspective here. So sometimes I kind of want to keep the abstraction a little bit, but you know, I need to be careful about that. Okay, so I got a few people now. Not sure if it's enough. me try to draw these guys first. No. So they would be on their own layer. Sure. And then I'm gonna draw a little grid based on what I have here. So I'm gonna try to do it freehand. Maybe I shouldn't, Matt. That kind of makes sense to me. Yeah. Okay, so now that I've done this freehand, I kind of want to put a real one there, and just to see, you know, how much my thing makes sense. So I can make it. I can make it. It's kind of seen like this, so I think it would be very flat if I were to put it into one point. I wonder if it should be 3. Maybe. Okay, yeah, that's for the fun of it. Let's try. Okay. Okay, so let me see if did I say I want to make a 3-point perspective for fun? I must be getting insane. Okay, so for sure the horizon is twisted like this. So this is, we're kind of seeing it as an angle, so it's kind of like that. And then this is my top point. Actually, this guy would be at the bottom, and then this horizon point would be fairly high. And then that's the thing with 3 points. It's kind of working in a diagonal grid. So when you want to see something head on, it's kind of wonky. Because I do want to see the. Okay. See my guy there, yeah, that's it. So if I were to like try to match this guy here. So it is a 3-point for sure. I think the horizon is extremely high. yeah, since the horizon is extremely high, and that means that, yeah, that makes sense actually. So one thing I'm not entirely certain of is when I have something like that I want to do, if I want to draw a grid that is 45 to a 3 point, I'm not certainly certain. I'm not certainly sure how I should do it. Maybe I should read my book again. I had this pretty good book. If you're looking for a book on perspective, it's called, I can show you actually. There you go. Let me get that. Wait a minute. Come in here. All right. So I have two books that I liked a lot, and they're together. So the first book is let me see. I need to turn on this too. Ah, yeah. So I don't know if the camera is gonna focus or anything. It's called Perspective for Comic Book Artists by David Kelsey, and it's extremely good. And it's made in a format in a comic book format. So if you like comics, it makes it easy to read. Another book I have is called a Extreme Perspective for Comic Artists. Yeah. And this kind of covers more advanced subject like fisheye and this kind of thing. So, yeah. You see? So I'm gonna look through that and try to make sense of how you do a 45-degree 3-point perspective. For now, I can probably just draw this grid here. And we're way past the hour, so I think I'm about done with this live session. I don't know if you guys had anything else you wanted to ask or do, but I will just tell you that I'm very happy you came to see me and that you watched this video until the end, even if it's if you're doing it after it's been live. I always appreciate any interest in my work, so thank you. You can, if you want to help out, just liking this video, sharing it, and all the social stuff you can do. This is something easy you can do, and that is a big help. Otherwise, I have 2 books for sale, like the 2 first books of this that you can get. They are I'm the one who's doing all the mailing and everything, so if you have special requests for sketches and stuff, you can always ask. Besides that, I do have a Patreon and a Ko-fi that you can also get. You can also use if you would like to contribute to the channel a little bit, if you're in a position to do so. Besides that, I guess that's about it. I really thank you for coming by. I love to hear from you. So just a reminder that there's a new page coming out this Thursday. So if you'd like to see it, and there will be a lot of tentacles on it. So if that's something you're into, definitely check it out. Besides that, I guess I covered it all. I hope you're gonna have a great week. It's a little bit raining today, but I mean, it's a great day to stay indoor and draw if you want. I think it's always fun. Draw with your family, have fun, and I'll see you next week, like every Saturday at 10:30. I love to do these little videos, share my progress to you and to my future self. What I do is that what I've been doing is sharing, when I publish a page, I try to see videos where I worked on the page and I share them on my site, so you can see me work on that page live when I was working on it and hear what I was thinking, all that stuff. I think it's interesting, at least to me. So I guess that's about it. So have a great week, and I'll